Welcome to Bass Fishing Declassified. If you like to catch fish on a jerkbait, or if you're struggling right now in catching fish with a jerkbait and want to learn more, then this video is for you. Today we're going to have Kyle Cordy on to talk about rod selection for jerkbait fishing. Matt Steffen's going to go into depth on the cadence, and then I'm going to talk about a mistake I made as an early angler on picking out areas to fish with a jerkbait.
It's Kyle Cordy here with Bass Fishing Declassified. Today I'm going to tell you the number one mistake that I see if you're a new jerkbait fisherman. So people just getting into jerkbait fishing, the number one mistake I see is rod selection. Rod selection is so important, I would say above and beyond all the other components. You've got to have the right rod to cast a jerkbait, work a jerkbait, and most importantly, hook the fish, keep it hooked, and get the fish in the boat. So if you're talking about the full gamut of rods, and their power, their strength, how much they flex. It goes from a 1 to a 7 or an 8 power, where 1 is your weakest power. Those are like your medium lights, ultra lights, light rods, and 7 or 8s are your extra heavies. And so as you start to move up the scale from a 1 to a 2, you're talking about a medium action rod. And a 3 is a light medium heavy. And a 4 power is a medium heavy. Once you get to 5, 6, 7, and 8, those are heavy, those are too big. So anything above a 5 or bigger is too big. And in my opinion, anything in the 1 category, it's just too light, it's too flimsy, it's too whippy, it doesn't work well. You don't have the pop you need to get that rod to make that jerkbait work right. So you're looking at getting yourself a rod that's in between a 2, 3, and a 4 power. And keep in mind that all rod manufacturers are gonna be slightly different. So you really need to take advice from someone you really trust, or since each angler is different on what their preference is and how they like the feel of it, you need to get your hands on those rods. So one maker of a rod, for instance, I use Kistler. This is a Kistler Helium. This is a medium action rod. This is a 2 power rod. It's 7 foot, and length is also really important. So this 2 power Helium Kistler rod may compare to a different brand's 3 power or a light medium heavy for someone else. And it may even be a medium heavy for somewhere else. So you really need to put your hands on those rods and get a feel for them. But in general, if you stay in between that 2 and 4 power rod, which is a medium, a light medium heavy, or a medium heavy, most of those are all going to be conducive for throwing a jerkbait. Now, within that range, there are some particulars. And what comes with that is the length. We'll talk about length first and foremost. If you're a really tall person, then you can get away with a much taller rod. That also depends on whether you're fishing the bank or a boat that has a high platform or low to the water in a little John boat. So if you're going to work the bait with the rod tip down and you're tall, you can get away with a longer rod. That doesn't even really come into play for you. If you're a shorter angler, if you're under 6 foot or under 5'10", 5'6", you might need to get yourself a shorter rod. Still use the same action, but grab you a shorter rod. And again, guys, always get your bait sacks. Tackle Works by Calco's Fishing, the bait sacks. These things are incredible for all your treble hook baits. You just slide your bait in and out, put it right back in, put it on the line clamp, clip it to your rod, and you're good to go. You don't have to worry about those treble hooks. So hope this helps you guys. We'll see you guys next time on the Bass Fishing Declassified.
A jerkbait is one of the baits that we hear talked about most frequently, especially when you're talking about cold water periods. It truly is a bait that generates strikes when a lot of other techniques do not work. Now, having said that, a jerkbait is one of the more complicated baits in my opinion. Yes, it's a bait you can take out there and you can catch fish, fishing it in a variety of different manners. But man, it is one of those baits that if you can truly hone in and you can figure out what cadence is working on a specific day, you can generate significantly more bites. And that's one thing I think most beginners, when they're fishing a jerkbait, do not fully understand. The importance of the cadence of your retrieve, meaning how are you jerking it? How are you snapping it? How long are you pausing it? And continuously honing that in to determine what the fish are after on that specific day is going to generate more bites for you. A jerkbait is one of those baits that cadence and that retrieve can vary from day to day. It can vary from hour to hour. It can vary from location to location. So it's extremely important to recognize what the fish are after on that day. It's something we've talked about for years. As long as jerkbaits have been around, We've heard people talk about, well, you got to leave it sit for this long. You got to jerk it 3 times in a row and then you got to pause it. There's a lot of different retrieves that we hear people talk about, but I gotta tell you, until recently, I didn't fully understand the value of the cadence. With the in with the creation of forward-facing sonar, whether you love it or you hate it, we get to see now what the fish are doing in response to the way we're working a jerkbait. So more so than ever now, we can see if you snap it twice and pause it, do the fish like that? Do they swim away? If you pause it for 30 seconds, do they eventually bite it? You can literally watch that fish sit there and just nose up to your bait as you let it pause. And sometimes the longer you let it pause, the more likely they are to bite it. The point being here that what we've identified is on most days, you find that there's a certain cadence, there's a certain way to work the jerkbait that triggers those fish to strike. You can see these fish turn away from your bait, but if you give it an up jerk, they come and they bite it. There's things like that that we actually can see. So for me, the the creation of forward-facing sonar has really solidified how important your cadence is to your jerkbait success. It's truly something that most anglers, especially at the beginning level, do not fully understand. Most people don't even understand the value of the jerk in itself, meaning how are you going to work it? Are you going to pull your bait? Are you going to snap it hard? And you got to understand that when you pull it, your bait just goes like this. When you snap it, it darts back and forth like a soft jerk bait. I mean, it's a very, very important lesson anytime you're fishing a jerk bait to pay crucial attention to what is generating your strikes. Did you let it pause? Did you snap it twice? Did you just erratic jerk it all the way back? Are they biting it as you're jerking it? There's a lot of things like that that really come into play. And if you want to be an excellent jerkbait fisherman, you have to pay critical attention to what's giving you success when fishing the jerkbait. So don't just go out there and wing a jerkbait around thinking you're going to get bit. Play with the retrieves, change up your cadence, and remember what generated those strikes so that you can duplicate it. If you do that, you're going to generate more strikes.
What's up, guys? If there's an angler you really enjoy listening to from the Bass Fishing Declassified team, and you're just thinking to yourself you'd really like a chance to just have a one-on-one talk with that person for an hour, well, hey, go to the Fish the Moment website after the video and sign up for one of our one-on-one lessons. We offer an opportunity for you as a viewer to have a one-on-one virtual lesson with an angler from our Bass Fishing Declassified team. During that one-on-one 1 hour lesson, you can ask questions on how to fish your lake. You can ask about certain topics, techniques, and it's just a really unique opportunity. And it will help you become a better angler and grow as an angler, giving you opportunities to learn, talk, and get a little feedback on how to fish a certain body of water. Hey, go to the Fish the Moment website after the video to learn more about the one-on-one virtual lesson. Okay, guys, I'm going to share with you a mistake I made fishing a jerkbait early in my fishing career, and as I've gotten older, just if I'm going to go out and with conditions and everything is right and throw a jerkbait, this is just something I'm going to do now that I would not do in my younger years that I think a lot of anglers still make a mistake on. So I just picked a creek here, guys, just generic creek, and there's a lot of points in this creek, main lake point, all these secondary points that go in this creek. And points is an easy area, easy target to go start off fishing a jerkbait. And you hear about, I mean, we've even had videos where we've shared, hey, I mean, go pick secondary points, main lake points, you know, for a jerkbait. So just to help eliminate time and something that I did not do, once again, mistake I made in my younger years that I'm sharing now is which points to go fish. I mean, looking in this creek right here, once again, this creek, okay, I mean, what, probably more than 10 points? I've not counted. I'm just looking just in my eyes. More than 10 points. Which one to go fish, okay? Because we do have a creek that comes through here. There is some timber in this creek. It says some vegetation on the map, but there's not been vegetation in this creek in a while. So, which points? So with that, what I would do, okay, instead of just going up here and picking a rocky point or just picking that point looks good and dropping the trolling motor and throwing a jerkbait, hey guys, just go out with your boat, okay? And idle these points with your 2D sonar down imaging, okay? If you do have 2D sonar mapping, this is all you need, okay? Because this is what we used to do to catch fish on these points, is go and just idle these points. And when you're idling them, look for bait fish, okay? And if you do not see bass in the bait fish, that is okay, because I know in 2D sonar it might be hard at times. But if you have points that have rock on them, okay, like some of these here I know have rock on them, then those bass can be real tight to the rocks, okay? But as long as there is bait fish nearby, it gives you a confidence that bass can be in the area. So if you have more than just down imaging 2D sonar, let's say you have live scope, then yeah, that makes it a lot easier, okay? Let's say you're looking right here at this point, you idle it, see the bait fish, then you drop the live scope and you see bass with the bait fish, then that's going to be an easy place to go fish with a jerkbait. But instead of just pulling up here, looking at a point, and just starting to go fish, idle the points, guys. Now, one little sneaky tip, because I always like to throw in sneaky stuff, right? With that down imaging or down imaging 2D sonar, or if you have live scope, hey, don't forget to look in these little things right here. You know, I like to talk about ditches some. Some of these little ditches in here might have a brush pile or two. And it could be anywhere. You know, let's go to a whole nother part of the lake, okay? Let's just go up here to this creek. Okay, if it will load. Here goes my internet loading. Here's a good point. You know, go up here, idle it, see if there's bait. That's just a big old point. We got a creek channel, you know, breaking right here, so that's an easy target. But what about this right here? Look for stuff in here, okay? This is some areas that where you might find some good population of fish or big population of fish. There could be brush piles there, standing timber, grass, rock, but look in these little sneaky little cuts, okay? So guys, hopefully that'll help you on determining areas to throw a jerkbait at. Once again, use your electronics. All you need for this is 2D sonar. You don't need the crazy live scope and all that. Now, I mean, if you have live scope, it makes it easier. I have live scope, and it does make it a lot easier.
Thank you guys for watching today's episode on Bass Fishing Declassified. Let us know what your favorite tip was that you learned today from the video. Hey, and also please remember to give us a like and subscribe to the Bass Fishing Declassified YouTube channel so you do not miss out on upcoming content.